Welcome to the Becoming SuperHuman Podcast, where we interview extraordinary people to bring you the skills and strategies to overcome the impossible. And now, here's your host, Jonathan Levy.
This episode is brought to you by Organifi. You know, the one thing that literally every single diet and nutrition expert that we've had on the show seems to agree on is that we need to eat more veg and get our greens and consume all natural products. But let's be honest. How many of us actually have the time? Well, recently I had the opportunity to meet some of the folks over at Organifi, and I've been absolutely blown away by them and their product. You see, Organifi is an organic superfood green juice powder that literally covers all your nutritional bases without having to eat 5 bowls of kale. It saves you loads of time, loads of money, and a lot of chewing. And really all you have to do is add water and drink it. So to check it out and save an incredible 20% off your first order, visit Organifi.com. That's Organifi.com and use coupon code SuperHuman at checkout. Before we get started today, I want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by the online course, Creating a Meaningful Life. Now, this course is the culmination of 20 years of work and research by my personal mentor and university professor, Linda Levine, and myself. Now, in it, we teach not only the skills and strategies that we've used and taught and which are being used by life coaches all over the world to create a life of fulfillment and balance, but we also go into how you can design your lifestyle, how you can improve in every aspect, all 8 of the aspects that make a complete and rich life. And really, we share a lot of our wisdom. So if you've been inspired by the show, by some of the guests on here who seem to have these incredibly rich, fulfilling lives, I do encourage you to check it out. And of course, it is backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So to take advantage of a special coupon for listeners of this podcast, visit jle.vi/meaning. All right, here we go with the show. Greetings, super friends, and welcome to a very special episode of the Becoming Superhuman Podcast. I am going to tell you guys why it's very special, but first, I'm going to read you an awesome review from RJC Mommy from the US of A, who says, "A great variety. I love listening to this podcast. Even though he follows a low or no carb lifestyle, when he has guests who do not advocate such a lifestyle, he gives them just as much respect to speak their piece as any other guest. This applies to other areas also, from sleep patterns to technology use to medicine. He doesn't have to agree with them to give them and their expertise respect. The level of questions he asks everyone is great. As such, I've learned a great deal about a wide variety of topics. Thank you." Well, RJC Mommy, thank you for your incredible review. It definitely brightened my day. And if you guys out there have not yet left a review, well, please do. Now, on to today's episode. As you guys know, typically on the show, I interview world-class athletes, memory champions, coaches, and everything in between to help you guys understand the skills, strategies, and tools that they use to overcome the impossible and achieve superhuman performance in a variety of fields. Today's episode, however, is quite different. In it, I talk about one of the more important rites of passage that I've experienced in my own journey towards becoming superhuman, but it's not one that you would expect. If previous special episodes have taught me anything, it's that you guys love hearing about my own experiences and you enjoy deviating out from the standard format to learn about new and unusual things. Well, this episode will definitely offer that. And what's more, I want to give you guys a heads up that I am actually going to slowly start experimenting with and changing the format of a lot of future episodes to be a little bit less formal, a little bit less scripted, and hopefully less work and more fun for both myself, my guests, and of course, my team. So look forward to that. And if things feel a little different, a little new, well, bear with us as we figure it out. What follows, guys, today is one part explanation, one part manifesto, and one part experience sharing. It's both a deep insight into my own mind and yet it's a painfully shallow attempt to try and describe something that's truly indescribable. But I'm pretty sure you guys are going to love it. As always, hit me up on the Twitter machine at GoSuperHuman or post a comment on the blog post where you can actually check out some special videos and even some pictures of yours truly that probably would have never seen the light of day. So let me know what you guys think. And now, without any further ado, let me present to you how and why Burning Man changes people forever. This week, I returned from my 5th burn, mid-burn, a blissful 5-day cacophony of 11,000 carefree souls prancing, dancing, and hugging their way around Israel's Negev desert. For the uninitiated or simply uninformed, the term burn refers to a very special type of gathering. Note that it's far from being a festival that today happens around the world based on the principles of the infamous Burning Man. As always, my return to the so-called default world has been marked by an endless stream of questions. How was it? What did you do all day? What's it like? What's the deal with that thing anyways? And so on. My responses vary depending on who's asking, but in general, I tend to agree with tech titan and billionaire Elon Musk, who has said, if you haven't been, you just don't get it. But nonetheless, let me try to elaborate and explain why exactly it is that tens of thousands of people all over the world pay hundreds or thousands of dollars every year to wade through dust storms in the blistering heat. And furthermore, why, in my opinion, Burning Man is both one of the greatest accomplishments of modern social society and one of the most powerful tools for personal growth and transformation. But first, how did Burning Man start? Before we dive in, it's important to understand just what the hell Burning Man, or a regional burn such as that which I attended recently, is all about, and what it is patently not about. Dating back to 1986, Burning Man was originally inspired by a few friends, Larry Harvey and Jerry James, building and burning a human effigy on a beach in San Francisco. Witnessing the crowd that formed and experiencing the bonding, almost tribal experience of people sharing a then unclear ritual, Burning Man was born. Over the next few years, Harvey and a growing group of folks expanded the scope of the ritual and the size of the man, until in 1990, the event was moved to Black Rock Desert, a rural part of Nevada. There, participants and organizers alike would collaborate to form a sort of temporary Dadaist autonomous zone, a temporary city built for just 1 week with its own economic, cultural, and political systems. Judgment, money, and inhibitions were left at the gate in an earth-shattering socio-cultural experiment with no clear destination nor agenda. And, true to the original burn, art structures, including the effigy, would be burned to signal the end of the gathering. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Burning Man slowly grew from a few hundred radical freethinkers into a proper cultural movement. By 1996, the event had 8,000 attendees. In 1997, an official Department of Public Works was established. Temporary roads, based on the face of a clock, were designed to create order and improve the increasing flow of human and mutant vehicle traffic. An FAA-approved airport was created. Billionaires and business leaders from all over the world began attending. Popular magazines and TV shows began referencing the cultural phenomenon. By 2000, law enforcement took notice too, and a steady stream of citations and arrests began to increase every year. After all, outlandish art, loud music, nudity, and even a psychedelic drug counterculture had become instrumental parts of the burn. By 2004, Burning Man's future was extremely uncertain. That same year, there were 218 citations from the Bureau of Land Management, 217 citations from the police, 246 warnings, and numerous arrests. The city's population that year? A mind-boggling 35,000 people. To rein in the chaos of a rapidly expanding and ever-scrutinized population, Larry Harvey and the Burning Man organization sat down and created the now infamous 10 Principles, a set of guidelines that would govern the behavior of burners both in Black Rock City and in future regional burns around the world. The 10 Principles today are something of a Bible for burners everywhere. It's not uncommon to be reminded of these values or to hear them articulated frequently. Here, I'll quote them directly from Burning Man's official doctrine. 1. Radical inclusion. Anyone may be a part of Burning Man. We welcome and respect the stranger. No prerequisites exist for participation in our community. 2. Gifting. Burning Man is devoted to acts of gift giving. The value of a gift is unconditional. Gifting does not contemplate a return or an exchange for something of equal value. 3. Decommodification. In order to preserve the spirit of gifting, our community seeks to create social environments that are unmediated by commercial sponsorships, transactions, or advertising. We stand ready to protect our culture from such exploitation. We resist the substitution of consumption for participatory experience. 4. Radical self-reliance. Burning Man encourages the individual to discover, exercise, and rely on his or her inner resources. 5. Radical self-expression. Radical self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual. No one other than the individual or a collaborating group can determine its content. It is offered as a gift to others. In this spirit, the giver should respect the rights and liberties of the recipient. 6. Communal effort. Our community values creative cooperation and collaboration. We strive to produce, promote, and protect social networks, public spaces, works of art, and methods of communication that support such interaction. Number 7. Civic responsibility. We value civil society. Community members who organize events should assume responsibility for public welfare and endeavor to communicate civic responsibilities to participants. They must also assume responsibility for conducting events in accordance with local, state, and federal laws. 8. Leaving no trace. Our community respects the environment. We're committed to leaving no physical trace of our activities wherever we gather. We clean up after ourselves and endeavor, whenever possible, to leave such places in a better state than when we found them. Number 9, participation. Our community is committed to radically participatory ethic. We believe that transformative change, whether in the individual or in society, can occur only through the medium of deeply personal participation. We achieve being through doing. Everyone is invited to work. Everyone is invited to play. We make the world real through actions that open the heart. And number 10, immediacy. Immediate experience is, in many ways, the most important touchstone of value in our culture. We seek to overcome barriers that stand between us and a recognition of our inner selves, the reality of those around us, participation in society, and contact with a natural world exceeding human powers. No idea can substitute for this experience. Now, if these values sound like a handbook for indoctrinating new people into a benevolent cult, it's not a coincidence. Since 2004, Burning Man itself has grown to a staggering 65,000 annual attendees. But that's not all. Through the support of the Burning Man organization, which became a registered nonprofit in 2011, those attendance numbers are easily doubled or even tripled by the tens of thousands of people who attend regional burns everywhere, from Israel to South Africa to Europe and Asia. In fact, in Israel alone, the Midburn regional event grew to an impressive 11,000 people this year, and it's expected that Africa Burn will welcome 13,000. Which leads me back to the 10 principles. Whereas most events, the Coachellas, Tomorrowlands, and even Woodstocks of the world have a tendency to become diluted, commercialized, or otherwise polluted versions of themselves, Burning Man, as a whole, has remained pure, both metaphorically and quite literally. But for a few rare exceptions, it's not only possible, but in fact rather likely to spend an entire week in Black Rock City without seeing a single argument, advertisement, dollar bill, or piece of litter. Sure, there are many old school burners who will tell you about the glory days in the 90s before theme camps and rich technocrats ruled the playa, which is a general term for Black Rock City or the environment of the burn. But for the most part, the 10 principles have allowed Burning Man, both the event and the global organization, to grow tremendously without losing its magic. So, what exactly is so magical about Burning Man, and how can it change us for the better? Is it the larger-than-life interactive art and music that melt your mind and show you levels of beauty and human expression that you previously were incapable of imagining? The freedom to express yourself, including previously undiscovered sides of yourself, more fully and experience acceptance and affection more completely than any modern, socialized human could possibly experience in the default world? Or perhaps it's the disconnection from the digital world of likes and shares and the opportunity to experience immediacy, the natural, connected, loving, present, and endlessly curious state of the human spirit at play. How about the ability or even the likelihood to fall in love with someone else for a minute, an hour, or even a lifetime based solely on the deep and unencumbered connection you create in this state of sheer mindfulness? Or how about the uniquely amplified and intertwined magic of kismet, the law of attraction, karma, and coincidence that allows the playa to somehow provide you exactly what you need in the exact moment you need it, as if you were living in a real-world fairy tale? Or maybe it's the omnipresence of powerful psychedelic drugs that change your grasp on the human experience, combined with the ideal, safe space to explore these radically altered states of consciousness. Well, in reality, it's all of that, but it's also much, much more. Oftentimes, when people ask about my experiences with Burning Man, or they're in the middle of digesting their own experiences, they want to know how it's influenced me. Sure, it's a heck of a lot of fun for all of those reasons stated above, but what lasting changes can such an experience really have on an individual? You would be surprised. Over the last 3 years, I've had the great pleasure of witnessing dozens, if not hundreds of people undergo this special type of metamorphosis that only a burn can provide. Though there are always exceptions, the vast majority of these individuals later describe their experiences as life-altering, deeply meaningful, or even earth-shattering. Though it may sound hyperbolic, I can attest to the fact that these descriptions neither promise nor threaten too much. When asked about my own spiritual, emotional, and personal journey, I'm able to draw a clear delineation between the person I was before my first burn and the person I am today. In fact, you may remember that in a recent post, I shared the 30 secrets of adulthood that life has taught me so far. What I didn't share was that no less than 8 of them were learned on the playa, in deep conversations, psychedelic states, random interactions, or solitary walks through the desert. So you're probably wondering, what exactly can you learn by attending Burning Man? As with all life experiences, your mileage may vary. Like I alluded before, the playa provides is one of the most powerful and universally shared experiences of burner culture, but it has a funny way of providing exactly what you need and not always exactly what you want. For me, the playa has provided a great many lessons over the years, ones that perhaps could have only been learned in that exact environment, but not always the ones I knew how desperately I needed to hear. Allow me to illustrate one. Though you perhaps and hopefully feel pretty well accepted, loved, and embraced by the society around you, the truth is you have never truly experienced what it means to be fully accepted. This plays out in a myriad of ways, big and small. Your parents love you and they accept you, but they would likely have more than a few judgmental or critical comments to make if you decided to sell all of your belongings and live in a monastery of Satan worshippers. Likewise, your colleagues, friends, and extended family probably accept you for who you are, but even they would raise their eyebrows if you decided to walk down the street wearing nothing but a smile on your face. Compare this with a culture of Black Rock City, a place where, so long as you aren't harming anyone else or violating 10 fairly liberal principles, you are free, even encouraged to do whatever the hell you want to do. Eager to explore your sexuality, play with members of the same sex, or have others watch you in the act? There are entire camps within the city dedicated to just that, and judgment and shame are nowhere to be found. Want to scream at the top of your lungs or howl like a wolf at the moon? Chances are someone will join you. And here's the best part. You know that thing we all do where we talk about our jobs, our hobbies, our experiences, or our possessions as a means of garnering respect or admiration or even common ground? None of that exists at a burn. It's quite common to spend hours or even days connecting deeply and intimately with another human being without even knowing their real name, much less their job, their socioeconomic status, or their age. In fact, I once spent an entire week bonding deeply on everything from psychology to philosophy to love with a woman I knew only as autonomy, without even the slightest hint that she was a successful entrepreneur and CEO, renowned behavioral scientist, university lecturer, and business partner to one of my favorite authors. All of these biographical details, crutches that we benignly use to prop up our self-esteem every day, are left behind, brought into light only when absolutely necessary. What's left is an opportunity to let your true self, the person lurking beneath all of that noise, come out and play with other people doing exactly the same thing. The end result is, inevitably, a feeling of joy, lightness, and freedom, which, for me, was immediately followed by a big and troubling question. Why don't I always feel like this? The answer was a difficult one to swallow, because I don't always feel safe and secure enough to be myself. I don't always feel accepted for who I really am. I don't always do what's true to my heart. I don't always open myself up to strange and exciting new experiences. And I don't always open up and connect to others simply for who they are at the deepest level. Standing there in some ridiculous outfit with no recollection of my last shower and no impressive achievements to lean upon, I somehow felt more accepted, loved, and appreciated with a group of complete strangers than I had ever felt before. At that moment, something within me broke, something irreparable. When you feel that level of freedom, joy, excitement, acceptance, and love, it's like letting helium gas out of a balloon. It expands to fill every millimeter of space allowed, and trapping it back into its cage is impossible. So too did my soul expand during my first burn. My heart soared. My spirit shuffled off this great weight. I vowed never to let any aspect of my true self be caged in again. If I could be accepted so fully by such complete strangers, then I could and would be accepted by anyone and everyone I meet. It was just a matter of bringing a little bit of that playa magic into the real world, of learning to be the same loving, curious, confident, and open-hearted person out here that I am in there. And I'll tell you a little secret that I've discovered, my friends. Once you learn how to conjure up that special kind of magic, the entire world becomes your playa. But first, you simply have to experience it for yourself. All right, super friends, that's it for this week's episode. We hope you really enjoyed it and learned a ton of applicable stuff that can help you go out there and overcome the impossible. If so, please do us a favor and leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or however you found this podcast. In addition to that, we are always looking for great guest posts on the blog or awesome guests right here on the podcast. So if you know somebody or you are somebody or you have thought of somebody who would be a great fit for the show or for our blog, please reach out to us either on Twitter or by email. Our email is info@becomingasuperhuman.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the Becoming Superhuman Podcast. For more great skills and strategies, or for links to any of the resources mentioned in this episode, visit www.becomingasuperhuman.com/podcast. We'll see you next time.